This is new for 2010, canvas stand. It's really a great solid metal structure with a lot of different possibilities. It comes with 13 test tubes, which is replaceable if you break any. You can purchase the test tubes themselves alone. I'm showing several different items in here. I'm showing Kua sticks tied into it because it's a grid that you could tie other materials into so that you can extend it, make it much bigger and broader. There's that possibility to create something that interplays with the sound structure that's already there. Or you can simply take like Gerberas, and into several of these I've actually put some water in there, so I got Gerberas just sort of lined up in there. It's one of those flowers that looks really fabulous. Tulips are great also. Just single flowers just slipped into this gives it a very graphic character to this sort of wall canvas, and it makes for a very graphic, good-looking design. The only thing is if you start to use something that's a little bit heavier, such as pincushion or anything that has a little bit more weight to it, little proteas and so on and so forth, what I want to show you is another technique that might help it stay stable and stay that graphic vertical versus diagonal or perpendicular. The reason being that if it's really heavy, what happens is it may start to lean to one side, and it makes these test tubes get a little bit tippy. To prevent that, just so that it could stay that graphic look, what I might do is take equisetum, and they're wired inside, and take it so that these are then tied across these, and maybe I'll tie the structure like this, and tied in another spot over the test tube, because then it's secured on the top and bottom, or where it's tied, so that it's not going to move. And so that way you can maintain the verticality of that piece. And of course these could be brought back and do some funky sort of a zigzag kind of a look in this design. But this way you can create an interesting graphic interplay of lines. And so, and also at the same time solving the mechanical problem of keeping those test tubes to stay on that vertical. So I'm going to do this with this as well. And this way you can get the test tube to stay straight. So this is just one of the tips on how to deal with the tippy test tube and to keep it so that it stays in place like that. Now the other item that I'm showing here is called moss garland. It's really very cool. It's very graphic. I like the alternating size of ball. And when it's strung, this is the reason why I did this twist stick concept here, so that you can suspend it. So you have a very static line of test tubes, but you have a very sort of loose and suspending garland, onto which, I mean, in itself, I think it looks great. The color is great. It has beautiful texture. But if you wanted to add flowers to it, then you can take something like dendrobium orchid, or any kind of a flatter flower, and of course this will be a party application so that you're going to be using it for the evening. But what you can do then is use this to pin into, so that there's your easy installation of flowers, and you can do it every other, or whatever, sort of placed rhythmically through this garland. And it has that kind of a nice interplay of movement, very, very good looking. And this way, the install is very, very quick. And what you have to do after you get this done is just mist it so it stays nice and fresh. But see, it gives you a beautiful garland of dendrobium very simply. And the key is not the glue, key is the pin, so that you could take it out. You have the fresh garland again to use it over and over and over again.